triggered, I'm triggered, I'm triggered, I'm triggered, I'm triggered, I'm triggered, I'm triggered. I've lost my mind and gone offline. I'm triggered, I'm triggered, I'm triggered.
What's up, everybody? Now, there are many examples of how the media lies. But we're going to show you the most recent. The Ohio State University shootings. Take a look.
We spoke to another student nearby who said he saw a body being taken out, potentially someone who was shot.
Now, if you notice, she said that someone reported they saw a body being moved, and the reporter turned it into
somebody was potentially shot.
Jim, again, I know we have very limited information.
But we won't let that stop us from making shit up.
I'm joined again by Jim Kavanaugh. The fact that our local affiliate is saying a second location is being surrounded by SWAT teams, could this imply that maybe there are multiple shooters? Because
so while we're just guessing and making shit up, we're going to throw the phrase multiple shooters out there multiple times.
Well, it could have been the gunman who fled back to a vehicle. It could be multiple shooters. There's always reports of multiple shooters in active shooting situations. Always reports, because witnesses see the shooter in multiple locations. Now, that's not to discount that there can be multiple shooters. There are situations with multiple shooters, and we could go over those chapter and verse.
Shit, how many multiple shooters was that? I lost count. There's a fucking army there.
Apartment chair had said someone in the building had been slashed in the leg with a machete. A machete, what does that tell you?
Well, you know, these shooters, if we look back at them and we see all these reports in history, they come, armed to the teeth, almost as if they have, crossed bandoleros on the front of their body. They have...
I like these guys. They're funny guys.
Multiple magazines. Sometimes they have long rifles, military-style, rifles. They have handguns with large magazines. Sometimes they have big knives, bayonet-type knives that go on military rifles. Wouldn't be out of the realm that a guy like this would come into a campus to do this kind of shooting would carry some kind of a machete.
So, it turns out that there was no gun. It was a Muslim, and I think it's very important to point that fact out. It was a Muslim, one of those peaceful Muslims, who drove his car into a crowd, and he had a knife. And it was one shot. There was a campus police officer who got there within a minute, and shot him. I don't have footage of that, but I'm sure it went something like this. Now let's find out a little something about the Muslim.
He was angry because he was worried about praying somewhere in public on Ohio State campus because he didn't want people to look at him and think that he potentially was a violent person, the type of person that might run people over with a car and then stab them. And then
exactly.
He became the person that ran people over and stabbed them. And this is just proof. This is, I mean, it's mind-boggling. They're still wondering about a motive for this. As soon as this happened, it's to blame the guns. Look at the gun violence. There was no gun. There were weapons. What are we going to ban cars?
It's a gun that stopped this guy.
A gun stopped him. Yeah, the only one there with the gun was the guy that stopped him. And we're lucky we had a gun on campus. He was a minute away. Imagine if this guy got out and started stabbing 11 people. He would have cut heads off.
You know what? We have learned of a Facebook post just moments before this all happened. ABC's chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross with the new clues at this hour into what might have motivated the suspect.
I take offense to the word suspect. At this point, he's no longer a suspect. He's the guy.
To do this.
Just 3 minutes before the first 911 call today, Abdul Razak Ali Artan posted this message on Facebook, according to law enforcement officials. I can't take it anymore. America, stop interfering with other countries, especially the Muslim Ummah. We are not weak. We are not weak. Remember that.
You know, at this point, I'd like to interrupt and be petty for a moment and say, fuck you, Facebook. You block me for the smallest little fucking bullshit things, but this guy gets away with, saying all that shit.
Terroristic threats.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. That doesn't violate Facebook policy. Douchebags.
Certainly that authorities need to treat this as a potential terrorist attack.
As police and the FBI tonight carry out a search warrant at Artan's home in Columbus.
Talk to anybody that he might have associated with, find out what they knew.
The picture emerging of him is that of a Somali immigrant
Abdul Razak Artan, cum laude.
who in this school video taken just 5 months ago seemed to be living the American dream until he turned on his adopted country, becoming radicalized based on what he read and heard online.
So it took this piece of shit Muslim 5 months. 5 months to turn on the country that, adopted him, brought him in.
Gave him education.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was so excited about that 5 months ago.
5 months.
5 months.
I would have thought it would have been sooner. But,
Artan was recently profiled in the campus newspaper, The Lantern, blaming the media for making Muslims feel scared on campus.
So many people who are flipped by ISIS propaganda remotely look like they're leading successful lives. It's so hard to predict when the propaganda will get through to them to the point where they crack and go violent.
In recent weeks, ISIS has been urging its followers to copy the vehicle attack that took place in Nice, France, when 84 people were killed by a terrorist driving a semi-truck through the Bastille Day celebration there. And just 2 days ago, ISIS posted this new video instructing its followers how to use a knife to attack non-believers.
when is enough going to be enough? Huh? They're fucking telling us. They're telling us, hey, we want to kill you motherfuckers. And you got a bunch of people going, oh, no, they're not all bad. Not all of them. You know what? I agree they're not all bad. How about I fill up a fucking room with rattlesnakes, okay? They're not all going to bite you. We just don't know which ones are gonna. And you got to cross that fucking room. Time for them to go.
Back to the suspect, and it would appear such a stark contrast just a few months ago at that other graduation.
That's
he was
right,
at.
so happy.
Any other clues from the Facebook post?
Well, yes, David. In fact, he actually calls himself in that Facebook post a lone wolf and says, if you want us Muslims to start carrying out lone wolf attacks, then make peace with the Muslim world. David, those are his words today.
All right, Brian Ross, you'll stay on this throughout the night.
Enough's enough already. You're talking about a people that have no problem walking into a crowd and blowing themselves the fuck up because they think they're going to wind up in heaven with, what is it, 42, 50?
72.
72 fucking virgins. That's what's waiting for them. It's probably going to be all guys with Spock ears.
Oh, wouldn't that be a surprise?
Bullshit. You know where they wind up when they blow themselves up? All over the place.
That's all, folks.
I've lost my mind and gone offline. I'm triggered, I'm triggered, I'm triggered.